Let's power up your client experience whilst they are working with you. Do you have a clear customer journey where your client knows and they can vision how things are going to work working with you? Listen to today's episode to find out more. Hello, you're listening to the Courageous Goals podcast. This podcast is for high achieving, courageous women who want growth and the know-how to scale their business online. Running a business is a journey and a process. The more we learn in action, the more we succeed. If you're a woman in business, this is the podcast for you. Be in the 5% of businesses that make it. Let's get bold and create the life we desire. I'm bringing my passion to you through advice, coaching, inspiration, and support to help you create and design the life and business you want to live. I am a Dubsado expert, CPD certified in social media platforms, and a lover of admin systems and processes. I am an accredited ICF coach, specialising in trauma and narcissism. My own coaching journey has supported my growth immensely, and I want to share those highlights with you to inspire and give you courage. Let's get intentional with our goals and make them happen. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Courageous Gold podcast. So today I'd like to talk to you about how you can power up your client experience working with you in your business. So for those of you wondering, what is Leanne talking about? So today I just really wanted to talk to you about how important it is to give your client a VIP experience in working with you as a person and how it reflects you and your brand, because it's ever so important when working with someone directly to ensure that there's clear expectations, a clear understanding of who's doing what and when, so that the client you are working with really values working with you to ultimately refer you on to other people that they know. And that goes for all types of businesses, whatever it is that you do, whether you are a web designer, a photographer, a coach, any type of coach, whether you are a social media strategist or, just anything, whatever it is that you do, it's so much easier to give a clear customer experience so that they can really understand, who you are, what it is that you do, and they're able to give that like and trust factor that is so important in business to be able to refer you to other people. So do you have a specific process in how you work with your clients? Do you know that they know what to expect from you when working with you? Now, I try and make this very crystal clear when I work with people, and I actually have it laid out in a lot of my systems when I email them. So when I email them about something specific, if I'm asking them to fill out a questionnaire because I need to know this information, etc., 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 but then at the end of it, it will then say something along the lines of, this will be brilliant, if this is completed before this date, so that when we speak in our meeting, or so that we, when we have our next session, this can happen. And it really gives that expectation of, you're asking them to do this questionnaire because of this reason. And then next time when we speak, we can go through all of these things. And it gives a really clear vision of what's going on. So to be able to do that, you need to know exactly what it is that you offer. You need to know your product, your package, your service, whatever it is. You need to know what you're doing. In addition, it creates a positive, creative kind of attitude and relationship with your client. It gives that emotional connection. And it also kind of lets the client know, where they stand and what's going on. So to do this, you really need to personalize your your packages, your services, so that they know and they understand what is going on. The whole idea is to really focus on how you support your client so that they feel actively listened to, because they've signed up to you for a reason. You know, you must be good at what you do. They must have heard good things about you. They must have seen, you know, evidence, whether that's on social media, on your website, in a group that you're part of. You know, they must have heard someone talking about you, whatever it is. The client experience is so important. So powering that up by having like a system in place is ever so important. So if you haven't already got something like this, you know, mapped out, and you know you do this, you know your client knows what to expect from you, then I really urge you to think about it. You know, you don't have to have an actual process in place that's done for you, but to just have an idea. So I really invite you to grab a pen and grab a large piece of paper. If you're anything like me, I'm very creative. I love colour, and I love, you know, sometimes, honestly and truly, I love laying on the floor with my pen and paper, you know, great big piece of paper, like A3, A2, whatever it is, and mapping everything out. And it usually looks something like a spider diagram, but then that usually goes off and it creates another spider diagram. But the idea is you can brainstorm your ideas. You can think, oh, so this happens here, and then this is going to happen here. But does the client know that? Do they know what happens from A to B? So there must be a bit in the middle that they're probably thinking, oh, so I've done this now. When am I going to hear from Leanne again? So there's little bits in between where you can kind of think, right, I've done this and this is going to happen next. So what do I need to let the client know? Even if it's just a quick PS at the bottom of an email, once you've, you know, asked them to do something specific or whatever it is, you know, it's just letting them know. So, you know, it could be, I don't know, Joe blogs down the road. PS Joe, could you please go ahead and book your next session? And once you've filled out this questionnaire, we will discuss it then. You know, that's just an example. But my point is you're capturing, you know, the details in between each stage and letting your clients know at each stage like what's going to happen, so that they know, oh, okay, they're getting the full package. This is really good, and I know what to expect now, and Leanne's going to expect this from me, so actually I need to get this done. And some people, you know, they leave things till last minute just because that's the way they work. That's absolutely fine. And some people like to actually get it all done way in advance and send it over. I'm actually one of those people. When I worked with Kate, who helped me with Dubsado a couple of years ago, I remember one of her emails saying something along the lines of, I knew I'd love working with you, Leanne. And it made me laugh my socks off when I read that sentence, because in my previous email, you know, I went back to my email and I'm like, what did I write for her to say that? And I had literally answered every single question she had asked me. I had like bold subheadings. I had either, you know, a list or a paragraph of everything and anything of, yes, I've done this, and it had like a tick next to it, or I'm going to do this on Friday, or actually this isn't in place yet, or this isn't connected, you know, stuff like that. And I just really went into detail. And I've actually had that feedback before from a previous client. And she pointed out when I, you know, sent her the information about working with her as her VA in the early days, how I answered everything with such detail, and, you know, that made her felt drawn to working with me. So I clearly have an eye for detail. I like to be organized. I like to have things in a process, have everything streamlined. So you can probably really hear my passion when I talk about this, because I feel it's just so important so that everybody knows what stage they're at, you know, what's going on, so that you know your product, you know what you're offering, that client knows what they're getting. And it just really gives a great, clear, concise customer experience. And then the vision of working with that person is just there. It's clear, you know, everyone knows what's going on. And yeah, that's kind of it, really, because if you have a process in place and a clear client experience, that's absolutely fab. Well done. Is there anything that you can make small changes to where you can think outside of the box? Does that person know that, this is going to happen at the next stage? So that's just something else to think about. And for those of you that haven't got this in place, please do grab pen and paper and allow yourself some time, block an hour, whatever it is, play some music in the background that's going to get you motivated, that's going to get you thinking, what you can do, and get working on your client experience for, how things work when they work with you, because you want to be there to solve their problems. You want to be there to respond quickly, give that personalized experience, and, help them with whatever it is they've come to you for. So make sure you actively listen to what it is that they've come to you for, what you're giving them, so that you can then give them a clear client experience. I hope this episode was useful for you, and I can't wait to share the next episode with you. I shall speak to you soon. Thank you so much for listening to the Courageous Goals podcast. I really hope you've enjoyed today's episode and taken something of value for you. If you'd love more advice, coaching, inspiration and support, head on over to join many other courageous women in business in our free community group over on Facebook. We'd love to welcome you. You can also find free useful resources over on the website at leannebrown.com/resources. Right, that's all for this week. I look forward to sharing another episode with you next week.